There's a saying in the Ruhrpott, coal rains from the sky like pennies from heaven. But those days are over. Only a few mines are still operating, and Bottrop's mine will be closing down soon. Dirk Opalka is doing what he can to make sure nothing goes to weeds.
I'm a child of the Ruhrpott myself, and folks around here are always griping about how bad things are. High unemployment, nothing going on, everything's falling apart. But we have a lot to offer. Europe's highest concentration of colleges and the use of renewable energy in innovation city Bottrop.
The Plus Energie House in subsidized housing, for example, the first residential building in Europe to combine solar and thermal power. It might even supply more energy than the tenants actually use. Dirk Opalka used to be an industrial manager. Now he and associated businesses are out to show what the region is capable of. The Initiative Ring invests a six-figure euro sum annually into this pilot project in Bottrop.
We're rolling up our sleeves. The Initiative Ring is just what the name says. We take the initiative.
Just a few blocks away, an entire mine workers' neighborhood is being renovated and outfitted with new energy systems. And the rents are still affordable. The renters are all for it.
The apartment is great. You couldn't get a nicer one.
We build for people. The most important thing is for them to feel at home.
Several energy companies are members of Dirk Opalka's Ring. It gives them an opportunity to test new technologies, as here in the basement of Bergnice. The house's own gas-fired power plant generates both electricity and heat. Over 90 such mini power plants have been installed around Bottrop. They can be networked into one big power plant. Eventually, the entire neighborhood of 70,000 residents will produce its own energy.
I think it'll pay off from a financial standpoint as well. You can generate your own power while you're heating your home, maybe even enough to sell.
Modern homes are one aspect, jobs are another. They're also essential for keeping young residents and attracting new ones. Dirk Opalka is focusing on the logistics industry. It needs a lot of space, and Ruhrpott has it. Duisburg's Riverport is a shining example of how industrial wastelands can be refurbished. 15 years ago, Initiative Ring member Erich Starke took the operation's helm and developed it to make it the world's largest river port for container transshipment. Financing came from public funds. The ring would hardly have been able to rehab the old industrial spaces on its own.
We converted the old Krupp foundry, 2,070 hectares. Today, 4,500 people work there. If it were still a steelworks, it would only have half that many jobs. 40 businesses are located there instead of just one. So it's been a great success and set an example for Europe.
Now, goods are shipped from here all over the world. That fact alone serves to attract more logistics companies. Commercial property is getting scarce in the region.
There's a demand for space. Here in the Ruhrpott, we have lots of mining properties that the planning authorities would like to see redeveloped. So if we could get a hold of these properties and revitalize them, I'm sure the logistics sector would be able to make good use of that space as well.
Containers are now loaded onto ships here in the port where the old steelworks once stood. Tearing it down was in itself very costly. The private sector would like money from the state for similar projects to come. After the reconstruction of eastern Germany, now it's western Germany's turn.
We don't want to offer any competition, but it's obvious that you can't just hand out funding based on east or west, but according to need. And I think the Ruhrpott has earned the right to a little consideration for funding.
It's been a long time since the Ruhrpott was Germany's industrial heartland. But the example of the Duisburg Riverport is proof that the region still has enormous potential.